How's it going? We are here to talk about the dryer today. So, the dryer is a single block in GregTech 6, and it has the function of drying materials to get the water out of it. One of the main reasons that it is used early on is for making distilled water. So, you will put water in and get distilled water out. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there are 4 different flavors of dryer. You have your steel, which is your basic one, Invar, titanium, and tungsten carbide. The recipe is 4 bricks, a pipe of the flavor you are making, a machine casing of the flavor you are creating, and a double copper plate. And this is a heat machine, so you need HU run it. So a burning back box or a heater, electric heater, is what you will need. And you will notice that this being a heat machine, there is no overclocking charges for the recipe. So if you're doing a recipe that only takes 16, you can do that in the 4th one without having any overclocking charges. Overclocking charges being 2 times the speed for 4 times the power. But in this, whatever the 2048 divided by 16 is, that's how much faster it's going to go. So, the energy needs to go in the bottom because, well, it's heat. And its item input is the left and the back. Now, it says auto for the left because it will automatically pull in from that input. The back one will have to be piped in, or you can use like a hopper, but it will have to be inserted into the machine. It will not automatically pull it in. The item output is to the right. That is also automatic. Fluids will go in from the left or the back being its auto pull. So if you wanted to put a tank, you could put it on a tank to the back and it would automatically pull from that tank. Otherwise, you would need a pipe. Fluids out is to the top, and that is automatic as well. If you want to toggle off the automatics, you can use a monkey wrench for that, and that will toggle off the automatic inputs and the outputs. You can change any mode that you need with the screwdriver. You can reset a recipe with a soft hammer, but you do not want to do that unless you are really stuck and cannot reset the machine by completing the recipe, because you will lose whatever is stuck in the machine at that time. You can use a magnifying glass to give you details and a wrench to turn the facing. Now, this is a basic dryer setup. So most recipes will take 16 GU. GU is generic units. This machine, it is a heat unit. And like I said, it will create distilled water. You can do it from wood. Drying it into dead logs will give you distilled water. The main thing that is done in here early for distilled water is water. So we will look this up instead of clicking through recipes here. It'll be quicker. Okay. So 10 liters of water will create 8 liters of distilled water. There is also salt water that you can do, which will give you salt. If we look at the creation of distilled water, let's go to the back here. So dirty water, this is swamp water, will give you dirt and distilled water. Regular water we already looked at. That's not normal stuff. This is sluice juice, which will give you sluice sand. We'll talk about where you get the sluice juice when we get to the sluice. That will give you distilled water as well. There is the seawater, which will give you salt and your distilled water. And if you notice, it does say the dryer can run up to 8 times the process at one time. So if there's enough room for 64, it will run all 64 at one time in parallel processes. You can also use it for things like drying sap into sugar and distilled water. Eventually, you can also dry grass in there, which will also give you distilled water. We actually use a hopper underneath to collect the ash, and you'll see the piping here for water going in the back, distilled water coming out the top, and then you can use that for your boilers for like the crusher and things like that. Distilled water is important for that because you do not want to run a boiler on regular water, as it loses its efficiency as it calcifies up to a 50% loss in power. So 2 boilers would be required to create the same amount of steam as 1. So I hope this has helped you understand the dryer. You can give them, you can overclock them. You don't have to give them 16. You don't have to give them 32 heat units or 16. You can give anywhere in the range of 16 to 64. So you can use any different burning box that you choose that can supply that amount. So lead, which has a 50% efficiency, bismuth, which is only 45 efficiency, bronze, which will be a little bit faster than the 16, which is 75% efficient, Invar, which will be the minimum that this can handle, which is 100% efficiency. You will notice that it is the same heat units out, but it is twice the efficiency. So Invar will take half the amount of fuel that lead will to do the same amount of recipes. And then you have your steel one, which is 32 at 70% efficient. And that is the last one that you can do for this dryer. If you go to Invar, then you can use others. But you do not want to use a burning spring box higher than steel for the steel one. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Stop in our Discord, which there is a link in the description for, and we'll be glad to answer. And y'all have a great day.